All right, we're back. Stranger Things spoiler discussion. Let's dive right into it. I'm not going to waste your time. We did our spoiler-free review, and basically, this season has gotten better so far. It started out on a weaker note, not the weakest episode of the show, but one that I was kind of questioning. But as we got into episode 4, and we get all these reveals we're about to talk about, I was pretty happy. This video is solely to see some discussion down below. I need your thoughts. Best part, worst part. Is it inconsistent so far, or did episode 4 just kind of blow your mind? And that's where I'm sitting right now. Like, episode 4 is going to go down as one of the better episodes of the show, not only because it's like the perfect mid-season finale. You've answered some questions, but you've also set up so many things to make us sit and wait for like a month, but you're also delivering so much quality from an action standpoint, from a character standpoint. Will's arc finally coming to fruition, and I really love where we are headed right now. But let's go all the way back to episode 1, and a couple of things that I was surprised by. First of all, getting the Wheelers more involved, Holly specifically, and kind of starting out pointing to, oh, is she going to be the main character this season? That's not the case, but she's one of the main characters, and it's starting to reveal Vecna's plan of taking these kids, starting anew, and he says all of these things about kids in the 4th episode and why I'm choosing to take them instead of adults whose minds are already shaped, but children, we can shape their minds. That's evil, man. Vecna, you sick bastard. But episode 1, we're getting back together. Like I mentioned in my reaction, we've got the radio show going out to all of Hawkins, and it's this quarantine situation, very reminiscent to COVID times for us. But finally, people recognize that Hawkins is, well, it's pretty insane to live there. Now they're stuck there under government control, and this regime that is there kind of taking charge and doing a lot of bad, shady things on the side. And we have our villainous character, our villainous human that's being set up here. Of course, we still care about Vecna more than anything, but then we're reintroduced to our whole crew and our squad, and we go back to school, and everyone's defending Dustin. Then we go to Eleven's training session, and I mentioned how that was a little awkward. It looked a little cheesier than I wanted it to look, and you're setting up all of these plot points, but we start episode 1 and we immediately press go. Like, we're not easing back into things. Now, circumstantially, that makes sense, but it was a little jarring, and setting up so many plot points is jarring, and I was questioning, should Holly's inclusion, a character that's barely had any speaking lines in the show, should that be what drives this season? And all of those things had me sort of scratching my head. And then there's the aspect of, well, everyone looks really old. They look old, like not super old, but older. And so can I buy them as these characters? All of that took me an entire episode to get back into. And I guess I had to get into the swing of things to fully love and appreciate what's going on here in season 4. But the way episode 1 ends, my God, with Vecna going after Holly. By the way, some of the CGI with the Demogorgons isn't perfect. I mean, it looks solid, but it's not the best. But there are times where they're using practical effects in here, specifically where the Demogorgons going after Holly at the end of that episode, or really the beginning of episode 2 is when all the action happens, looked amazing. And so you have our crew kind of rushing to the Wheeler's house, and they're trying their best to stop this from happening, but there's nothing they can do because they are dead set on going after this little girl, but Mom and Dad are there to defend, and I will admit, I was sad that Papa Wheeler died. Now, there's one thing about this, like, and I understand the characters are under a lot of pressure, and there's trauma, and there's things they have to do, and they're on a mission, right? But I wish there would have been a little more mourning for Dad, because Dad's gone, and it's just like, oh yeah, and Dad's dead. And I'm like, I wish there would have been something. But you've got to keep it going, right? You got to keep it moving. So didn't fully bum me out, but I wanted like just a big tribute because he was one of my favorite supporting characters in the show. And then Mom's in the hospital, and they're in the hospital sneaking around trying to get her to color some pictures. No, she's drawn out like, hey, here's what happened. Here's who she's been seeing, and who is this imaginary character? Oh, it's Henry. Oh, it's Vecna. And so you're starting to really tie in together. Henry's going around showing himself to these kids. No, that sounded weird. Showing his human body. No, showing his human form to these children. It's been a long night. I have a newborn, so I'm trying. My brain hurts. But I really liked how they started to tie that in. You get that reveal, and then you start to tie in that he's going and speaking to all these other kids, and then we get introduced to our one new character, and he had his own poster, and I'm like, who is this kid? Who's this little squirt? And I'm like, he's going to be annoying. And at first he was. I'm like, oh, this kid, weirdo. But I actually kind of like him now, and I kind of like how they're tying in this story with these kids, how they're put under protection because they know they're in trouble, but then they're having to be put under protection because we also don't trust the people involved there. And so everyone's fighting for these children. But at the end of the day, Vecna gets his hands on whoever he wants to get his hands on because this dude is a dominant force. And when he shows up in episode 4 and he's a little bulkier, it's like the better form of Groot that we saw. Oh, he looks thick. He's jacked. Yeah, he looks good. Now, I want to pause for a second because we've not really talked much about Hopper or Elle, and they are here and they're on their mission, and everybody's on their mission, various missions across the board. You've got Murray, you've got a lot of people to talk about, and that's, we're throwing a lot of coals in the fire here. There's a lot going on, and that could bog it down for some people. It did for me at times, admittedly, because we're having to go back and forth, and not everyone's going to get a satisfying conclusion like a lot of us are expecting. But I do like where we're at with a lot of characters. Elle and Hopper, it's that obviously father-daughter relationship. He's still reeling from what happened to his other daughter, and he says that I don't want to lose you. I'm going to do whatever it takes, say whatever it takes. He's overwhelming for sure, but it's the same thing with Will and his mom. I mean, both of these relationships are, we want what's best for you. We've lost you, figuratively or not, before, and we don't want to lose you again. And we want to make sure that we're going to do whatever it takes. But at the same time, you can be overwhelming because, hey, we're adults here. Okay, literally, we're being played by grown men and women trying to act like children. And so there's a great dynamic there. And I think you're learning a lot about who these characters are becoming, maybe even more so who they are right now. And Elle is good, but, kind of put on the back burner just a little bit for these first 4 episodes. It's much more Will's story, and it's much more where we're taking him as a character, setting up a nice dynamic between he and Robin that I wasn't expecting. And obviously, we can see where his story is going, the love and romantic aspect to what I believe they are leading us into with Will. Now, I'm a little curious because I don't know if it's going to take a lot for me. If he truly is in love with Mike, it's going to take a lot for me to buy that Mike feels the same way, because to me, they've always just been the best of friends, and we've never seen it from Mike's perspective, and so I know how Will feels, but they've never really built anything up for Mike to feel that way, romantically, back to Will. It's much more so a great friendship relationship, and maybe that's what they're setting up, but part of me is thinking, well, maybe they're setting up a little bit of a romance there with Will, but it does feel one-sided right now, to where Mike loves Will, but as a best friend. And so I'm curious to see how they bring that and make it work within the context of the show. But I do love that relationship with he and Robin, because Robin's feeding him a lot of great information. Kind of be yourself, a guy who feels like he's in a world to where this world won't accept me. I don't belong in many, many ways. And then we realize, oh, he has been changed by what happened and set everything off in season 1, and we see at the end, Will has powers. He is a sorcerer. That's the name of the episode. So cool. And if that's the case, are we going to get other characters with powers? I mean, is Max going to come back into her body and have powers? Because she's laying there, and, it doesn't look good for her. But inside with Holly right now, that's a whole other side of the story. She's been living there, and we kind of go back, and she found her way through all of these little wormholes. It's funny, we're talking about time travel in that classroom scene early on. I think it's like episodes 2 or 3, but we're talking about time travel, and I'm like, huh. And then we do that with Max, and I'm like, is there more to this? Even more than I even expected to this season, like Vecna traveling through time and all of these things. And I understand not in their physical bodies, but the Upside Down is a strange place. Really stranger things.
He said it! He said it!
There are a few things that happened in the finale that just blew my mind. First of all, obviously, Vecna showing up. All of the Demogorgons coming out of the portals, and we're rushing through time to get all of these kids to safety, and we're digging through this. I guess it's kind of like a prison, is what it feels like. We're trying to break them all out, but the Demogorgons are coming from everywhere. They're taking down the army, and our boy says, he's like, you're not ready for what's coming. You guys think you know what's coming, but you have no clue. But even I didn't know what was coming. I didn't think there would be that many Demogorgons and so much happening. I mean, this is the biggest, most grand action sequence we've ever seen in Stranger Things, and the finale of season 3 is up there, and we've got so many moments that I think about, like huge, massive CGI and a little mix of practical effects, but it's there's not much you can do. You have to use a lot of CGI with this finale. Vecna looks so good, man. He's upgraded. He looks phenomenal. You can tell a lot of the budget went to him because the Demogorgons at times look maybe a little shiny, a little rubbery, but my God, Vecna is magnificent with the way that he is handled, and he comes in so good, man. But I really love seeing Vecna and Henry, both sides. Henry's plan, how he is approachable. He makes himself approachable, sitting around this house talking to Holly, and he definitely has a plan. We don't know the intricate details of that plan, but there's something else I want to talk about, and really the soul part of this episode. We'll get more into Will here in a second, but the soul part where I'm questioning it, and that is the return of Callie, our lost sister, or I believe she's number 8. This is a character, and I don't hate the character as much as I hate that episode. It is such a weak episode of the show to where it takes season 2 down to the bottom of my rankings, which I'll be updating here in a day or two. But I've never went back and revisited it to where the tide has turned. Like, I think I've watched that episode 2 or 3 times. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, I feel the same way. It's off-putting. Not only are you halting the momentum that we were setting up beautifully in that season, but it's also just out of left field. And it felt like one of those little side adventure episodes. It was as annoying to me as a clip show episode of your favorite 90s sitcom. When you watch those for the first time, they're great. But then when you go back and rewatch clip show episodes, I always skip them. I'm just like, I don't need to see this again. I've seen the show 1,000 times. It's annoying on that level to where I don't need to see this. It's just not good. And the performances are bad. In a show that sometimes has bad performances, which is fine. We accept it, but they're bad. And so you're bringing back our lost sister here, and they're integrating that into an interesting dynamic, and you're going to bring a lot out of Elle in that way, and bringing the actress back, which is amazing. I just don't know if that decision is going to serve this show well. But I will say this. The Duffer Brothers bringing her back. It was rumored. Apparently someone followed somebody else on Instagram and people were talking about it. And I keep up with the kids. I keep up with the trades, folks. And so I'm like, she could come back. But why would they do that? Well, they've done it. They've made the decision. So you bring her back. You have a chance to not only redeem that character, which I believe they will do. I believe they'll redeem the character. You have a chance to redeem the episode. The only poor, the only bad. Look, we've had, I guess, mid episodes or ones that are approaching mid. I've enjoyed most of it, to be honest with you. But that's the only bad episode. If you can make that a little more relevant, and I made this comparison in my YouTube short, I'll make it again here. Thor the Dark World, the way it was handled in Avengers Endgame, they brought it back to prominence. They made it relevant and important. It didn't help the movie. The movie's still bad, but it at least serves its purpose now. Way more so than it did. That could be the case here. To make that episode, a bad episode of television, serve its purpose. It's not going to redeem it, going back and watching it, but it'll make more sense. And if the Duffer Brothers can do that, chalk it up as one of the biggest victories of this season, if not the biggest, depending on what they do. Now, the other big thing here that will hopefully be a big victory is what they're doing with Will. And I mentioned, being able to overcome a lot of these mental obstacles, but now that he's overcome them, he has powers. And so we mentioned Max, and we mentioned, kind of her hideout and what she's doing, and I hope they bring her back into her body. I want to see her and Lucas on screen again, and I want to know where this is going with the powers in general. Is it going to be Will and only Will, or will some of these other kids, will Holly come back with powers? Will Max come back with powers? Is it going to affect other people? And you got a possibility for maybe some spinoffs down the line. I'm not saying they're going to do it. They could. People would watch. But it's so fascinating to see where they've taken this character. And it makes sense. I've seen on Twitter some people are saying, he has powers now? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, That makes a lot of sense. If you think about it, it feels like something they would have cooked up in season 1. I don't know that, but it feels like that. And so if anything's out of left field, it is not Will having powers. It's great, and I love it. And the episode titled Sorcerer is fantastic. But I didn't think that was weird at all. And then I expected maybe more characters to die up until this point. Granted, rest in peace, Mr. Wheeler. I am going to miss you, probably more than your family. Dustin is another character. I love him absolutely so much. But we've not talked about him that much because his storyline's getting buried a little bit. You've got Jonathan's storyline, that relationship with Nancy, that's getting buried a little bit. Steve, my favorite character of Stranger Things, not as important this season. I get it. You've got to pick your poison here, but I would love to see him feel a little more relevant, but there's only so much you can do when you have so many storylines, so many characters. But then again, you bring back the Lost Sister, and I'm like, we could have spent more time with Steve. I guess it depends on what we do, but we have a lot of show left, right? You've got four more episodes, and each of them are like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. So movies of episodes. So hopefully we get these characters to serve their purposes. I know I missed a lot, but this was just my chance to kind of vent, talk about this, what I really enjoyed, what I take issue with, and people are talking about the performances. Look, I could do that. There are times where it's not great. There are times where the line delivery and Will's saying some things, I'm like, it could have been delivered better. It's not great, okay, but I love these characters so much, and I love the show so much, it doesn't bug me. It's still a nitpick, but it's not a major issue or a flaw. And I'm seeing clips on Twitter already. I'm just like, it's all right. Well, you're not wrong, but it just feels easy. And this show's so popular, so it feels so easy to judge that type of thing on that level. Regardless, I am loving the way this has escalated and gotten better, and I'm so excited to see what happens here, folks. So let me know your thoughts on the first 4 episodes, and then we're going to be back. We're going to talk about the next 3, and then the finale. It's going to be amazing. If you want to see more from me reviewing the rest of the show, please let me know that in the comments. If you want to see more videos in general, we'll try to do some YouTube shorts, so subscribe to this channel. Regardless, even if you don't want to see it, I will do an overall review of Stranger Things Season 5. I hope I didn't say Season 4. Season 5, 4 episodes. Thanks for watching. Hey, happy Thanksgiving. Everyone, go enjoy your Thanksgiving. Spend time with your family. Eat a lot of turkey. And save me all of the cranberry sauce. That's my favorite. I know that's kind of gross, but I love it. Bye-bye.